I hate feminism. I gotta say, I hate feminism because for most human beings, our gender is part of the joy of life. Women being women and men. The French, they say vive la différence, and the feminists are like stamp out the difference, basically stamp out it's one of the key joys of life, the fact that women are women and men are men. Most of us, I would guess, I don't know, some incredibly high percentage, 80, 85% of most of us, this is where we find our joy. This is what we like. We like girls to be girls. We like men to be men. A very, very small number of dissatisfied, angry women scream and yell at us, and it's toxic. It turns us against one another. It makes us wonder if ordinary things that people do in every society, like for instance, every single society has different kinds of work for men and women. Every single one. There's not a single society on earth where except maybe this one, where men and women do exactly the same thing. That's a universal. That's a human universal, and they make us question that and feel bad about it and feel that, if there aren't enough women fighter pilots, something is wrong. It must be bigotry instead of natural proclivities, natural talents, natural things that we want to do. And the problem is feminists are so awful that we react against them. And people, I've seen this, especially in young guys who kind of grew up under feminism, this anger against women, as if women were feminists. And, they conflate women and feminists, and it's just not right. We do this. Listen, I think we do this with gays too, by the way. Gay people, are living their lives, doing their thing. It's obviously not my thing. It's probably not your thing, but they're doing their thing. And then they want to teach, in our kindergartens or whatever, they want to teach their kids that they're not really boys and girls, that they can change their gender, that homosexuality is a norm and all that stuff. So we react against gays as if that were all gay people, where gay people are just trying to live their lives. So let us begin our journey into how awful feminism is. So anyway, what I want to talk about is reactionaryism, and how we get lured into saying stupid stuff by the stupid stuff they say and by the normalization of the stupid stuff they say in the mainstream media. So the best place to begin, if you're talking about the mainstream media, is the op-ed page of the New York Times, a former newspaper, or as we like to call it, Knucklehead Row. Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, let's go waltzing down to Knucklehead Row. Wow. Knucklehead Row today from Lindy West, okay? And we know what we're going to think of Lindy West because she is the author of Shrill, Notes from a Loud Woman. So you're going to love this, right? So Woody Allen, also a guy who is alleged to have done some really bad sexual stuff, and obviously ran off with his, I don't know what you'd call her. She wasn't his stepdaughter exactly, but she was the adopted daughter of the woman he was living with. And he's been rationalizing it ever since. And Harvey Weinstein, one of the reasons Woody Allen still has a career, because people were ready to kill him for this, one of the reasons is Harvey Weinstein. And Harvey Weinstein and Woody Allen defended Roman Polanski, the rapist of a 13-year-old child, so it's like they're all in this thing together. And Woody Allen has the temerity, when he was reacting to Harvey Weinstein, he says it's important. His first reaction was, Harvey Weinstein is a sick, sad guy. I feel sad for him. I don't feel so sad for him, but this is Woody Allen. But he said it was important to avoid a witch hunt atmosphere where, quote, every guy in an office who winks at a woman is suddenly having to call a lawyer to defend himself. So that's from Woody Allen. So Lindy West, the author of Shrill, writes a column on Knucklehead Road, says, yes, this is a witch hunt. I'm a witch. And I'm hunting you, okay? So that's the column. It says, when Woody Allen and other men warn of a witch hunt atmosphere, a Salem atmosphere, what they mean is an atmosphere in which they're expected to comport themselves with the care, consideration, and fear of consequences that the rest of us call basic professionalism and respect for shared humanity. On some level, to some men, and you can call me a hysteric, but I am done mincing words on this, there is no injustice quite so unnaturally, viscerally grotesque as a white man being fired. Now, what this has to do with white people, because, by the way, a preponderance of these charges, like on college campuses and all this stuff, are not against white kids. Anyway, Donald Trump and how he comes into it. All right, she's bringing Donald Trump in. Our predator-in-chief seems to view the election of Barack Obama as a white man being fired. like, this is like feminists proving that women can't be rational. Feminists can't be rational. He and his supporters are willing to burn the world in revenge. This whole catastrophic cultural moment was born of that same entitlement of Trump's paws and Weinstein's unbelted bathrobe, of the ancient cycles of abuse that ghost wrote the Trump campaign's real slogan, "If I can't have you, no one will." Setting aside the gendered power differential inherent in real historical witch hunts, pretty sure it wasn't all the rape victims in Salem getting together to burn the mayor. This, by the way, dumb. The Salem witch hunts were started by girls. Girls got hysterical. There was a slave named Tituba who stirred them up with stories of voodoo and witch hunts and all this, and they got hysterical and started to charge people. The people who were charged were men and women both. When you look at the list of people who were executed and convicted of witchcraft, more women than men, but plenty of men as well. There weren't that many. I mean, there were too many. One is too many, but there weren't that many. But anyway, it's a stupid feminist meme. The hysteria of young girls is what set off the Salem witch hunts. Anyway, the pathetic gall of men feeling hunted after millenniums of treating women like prey. Now let's stop right there, okay? Because that's sexism. That's actual sexism. That's like saying the gall of white men protesting against black abuses, as if you, by the color of your skin, are condemned for bigotry. She's saying after millenniums, instead of millennia, of men treating women like prey, it is pathetic gall for men to feel hunted. But what if the man is innocent? Each man is an individual. So anyway, she finally says, I will let you guys have this one. Sure, if you insist it's a witch hunt, I'm a witch and I'm hunting you. But there is a witch hunt. I mean, feminists have stirred up a witch hunt, and they stirred it up from the very beginning. They told young girls that they should have the same rights, as they call it, to have anonymous, meaningless, feelingless sex as men do. And then women started to do that on college campuses and started to think, you know what, I don't feel so good about myself. And then they started to accuse men of raping them who maybe hadn't raped them or at least deserved a fair trial. Here in California, Jerry Brown, right, one of the poster children of old-fashioned leftism, just vetoed a bill. You remember that the Trump administration revoked Obama's Dear Colleague letter that was sent out to universities telling them that they basically had to take the word of anybody who accused a young man, of sexual malfeasance, right? So the boy no longer had the right to go to the cops if he was accused of rape. He went before a kangaroo court, what they call now a Title IX kangaroo court, and he was thrown out of school without any way of defending himself. And these kids had to sue if they had the money to sue. So Trump rightly revoked that order, and the California legislature, run by obviously all liberals, we don't have any Republicans in California, passed a law saying, no, we were going to reinstitute these Title IX show trials. And Jerry Brown, of all people, vetoed this bill. He said thoughtful legal minds have increasingly questioned whether federal and state actions to prevent and redress sexual harassment and assault, well-intentioned as they are, have also unintentionally resulted in some colleges' failure to uphold due process for accused students. Due process includes the presumption of being innocent without a trial. So anyway, all I'm saying is the feminists say all this nasty stuff, right? Harvey Weinstein spends decades preying on actresses, preying on women, and now the feminists come out and they've got this hashtag Me Too. Have you guys seen this on Twitter? This is like every girl who's ever thought that she was abused is now making the story about Me Too, because God forbid there should be a news story and it's not about you as well. So everything is Me Too. It's annoying. It is really annoying. And so I've started to hear people, a lot of people on left and right, just people on Twitter, but also commentators, saying, well, you know, why didn't these women come forward before? They were kind of making a devil's bargain with Harvey Weinstein by having their careers and not reporting this. And I said from the very beginning, I'm not going to call these women heroic for coming out 20 years after the fact and 3 Oscars and 15 movies after the fact and saying, oh yeah, you know, I was abused, because a lot of other girls were abused in that time that might have been stopped if they had all come out. But I am also, you cannot blame the women for not coming out. I mean, let me just start with a hypothetical here for just a minute. Let's say a girl you care about, not, you know, even make it your daughter, say, God forbid, but let's say she is molested or attacked and she's shattered. And basically, she's looking, if she wants to bring an accusation against the guy who did this, she is looking at 18 months, maybe 2 years of trial. She's looking at expenditures. She's looking at going out in public. She's looking at testifying, giving depositions, maybe going into a public court case and accusing this guy. And here you've got this girl that you love, she's related to you, you're married to her, whatever. And, and she says to you, I can't do it. I've been raped. I'm already shattered. It's going to take me years to put my life back together. I cannot do it. Are you the guy who's going to say, yeah, you got to do it because you got to stop the rapist from striking again? Well, heroes do that stuff. Heroes, heroines, they do that stuff. But you cannot expect people to be heroes. That's what makes heroes heroes. They are exceptional people. That these women should risk their careers. Let's go back for a minute. Remember Lauren Sivan, the former Fox host? She told this story, and I bring this story up first of all because she tells it without sentiment. She doesn't break into tears. It's a grotesque story, but let her tell it again. Let's play that Sivan clip again.
He cornered me in this vestibule and leaned in and tried to kiss me, which I immediately rebuffed and said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I had no idea that that's what this was. I'm sorry, I have a very serious boyfriend and I'm not interested. And I thought it would end there. Mm-hmm. But that's when he blocked the entrance or exit for me and said, well, then just stand there and be quiet. And that's when I realized, oh.
Did you know what was about to happen?
No idea. No idea. Completely shocked. And yet, what is going to happen? Like, stand up and stand there and be quiet. I had no idea what was going to happen. And it happened very quickly. And he immediately exposed himself and, began pleasuring himself. And I just stood there.
Okay, now what happens if she goes to the cops, right? You think the cops, this is not against the police, but it's a he said, she said operation. She hasn't been raped. There's no DNA on her. There's no evidence. She's going up against a powerful guy with an array of lawyers. She's in show business. He can destroy her. What happens to her if she goes? You can't say to her, go give up your career. And you cannot then say, oh, you made a devil's bargain. That's ridiculous. That is absurd. The bad guy is the bad guy here. And by the way, I just want to also say another reason this is not a feminist issue, this is a human issue. This is an issue about power. This is an issue about power. This is an issue about people abusing power. If there's one thing conservatives should be against, if there was anything at the top of the list that conservatives should be against, it's people abusing power. What are we doing here if not trying to break up the centers of power so people don't abuse them? Why are we so mean that we're against welfare? Why are we so mean that we're against government health care? It's because we know that when people have power, they abuse it. And that's why you cannot be taken down this garden path of reactionary behavior where you start to defend or attack the people who've been abused by the more powerful. And the thing I wanted to say is that there is a huge, huge gay pedophilia problem in Hollywood, too. We know this because actor after actor after actor has come out. Elijah Wood, is that the guy's name? Elijah Wood said that it was there. And, of course, Corey Feldman has come out and made a big fuss about it. And this was making people very nervous. They were writing in Variety about how Hollywood guys were getting very nervous. But these guys are powerful and they are mean. They are rich. They've got lawyers. They've got people who are not lawyers, who are much nastier than lawyers. These are mean guys. And so listen to what happened to Corey Feldman. She goes on with Barbara Walters, another one of the icons of the left. Listen what happens to him when he goes on and tells the story on The View.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working. They're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are.
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
That's what, and that's what you're saying in your book. When you talk to, when you talk to
and
parents,
they don't want me here right now. Trust
Corey,
me. They want me dead.
There are a lot of parents out here who want to put their kids in this business. Their kids are cute. They're great actors. Da, da, da. What would you say to a parent who just has the best of intentions who's coming here with their child? If you're saying that there's a lot of predators in this industry.
It's a many-feathered bird. okay? Be careful what you wish for. That's what I'll tell you. You know, don't go into it with naivety. Don't go into it thinking that it's all roses and
You're
sunglasses and
damaging an
autographs.
entire industry.
I'm sorry, I'm
clear
not
up.
trying
You said
to.
that-
I'm just trying to say that it's a very important, serious topic.
He's apologizing. She says to him, "You're damaging an entire industry." He's telling her about kids being raped, you know, and she's not saying, "Oh my God, the house is on fire. We got to do something about it." You know, let me just end this. All I'm trying to say is I know the feminists are annoying. I know they take stories like this and they turn them around and they make every man guilty and they poison the atmosphere and they poison the atmosphere between men and women and they make, you know, men walk in fear, and it's just disgusting. It has nothing to do with men and women. It is only about power, and power does manifest itself between men and women in different ways, but this is all about the abuse of power, and we, as conservatives, have got to stand with the people who are being abused, not with the powerful, not with the people who are abusing the powerful. I just want to end on one note. This woman who did come out before the Harvey Weinstein thing, her name is Kaya Jones. She was one of the Pussycat Dolls. You know, obviously this is not my kind of music, not what I know about, but she is a follower of Christ. She came out and she said that she just could not stand the way, you know, it's really touching because girls, little girls, they love these bands, these power bands, the Spice Girls and all this stuff, and they represent glamour and power to little girls. But she said that they were, first of all, she said that basically they were being used as prostitutes. They were being told if they wanted a career, they had to sleep with anybody they were told to sleep with. She said they were being used to sell abortion, the ideas of abortion, used to sell all these left-wing ideas. And she talks about why she eventually left and walked away from it. Very touching little story. Let's hear her.
I felt that I wasn't normal when I said I wasn't okay with what was going on. And it wasn't in front of the camera. I was okay with being a sexy, powerful young girl, like a Spice Girl, if you will, which was my, you know, my growing up, they were my idols. And I had this like crazy, wacky moment, you know, where I was performing at MGM Grand Garden Arena in Vegas, and it was for Divas Live, and Patti LaBelle's wailing, and we're going on after Patti LaBelle, and there was these two little girls in the front row, and I was coming through the audience, only me and one other girl. The rest of them were coming up on a riser. And there were two little girls, and one was like 4 years old, and she went, "Oh, she's a pussycat doll." She was so excited to see us, and that was her reaction to me, and I just knew in that moment I couldn't do it, you know, because this isn't what I would want any little girl to be, what was being pushed on us and what I was going through at that moment in time and what we had just endured backstage. And so it was a lot of the back end that I wasn't okay with.
Okay, so there's somebody who remembered who she is, and we have to remember who we are. I mean, I know the feminists are annoying, but we cannot blame the women in this. I'm not saying they're heroes for coming out 20 years later. I'm just saying they're victims. They are the victims of alleged abuser Harvey Weinstein, and we got to remember who the bad guys and good guys are.